All right, thank you, sir. So I'm going to call to order the October 16th, it's hard to believe, 2023 Broadband, Caroline County Broadband Advisory Committee meeting. As you can see displayed on your screen is tonight's agenda. Everybody should have gotten this mailed out to them earlier. Do we have any amendments to the agenda at this point in time?
Yeah, I have my report on the affordable connectivity update for renewal.
What is it? It's
ACP.
ACP.
Just update. It's fine.
Update. Okay. All right. Anything else that we need to make adjustments to? All right. Since we made an amendment to the agenda, are there any oppositions to the amendment of the agenda that we've made for the ACP update? Okay. Hearing none, I don't know whether I have to do that. That's the first time we've ever really amended the agenda on the fly, but figured it'd be better to cover ourselves that way. Again, we stopped reading back the minutes of the previous meeting because we are on a YouTube channel, and you can go back and listen to prior ones if you have questions, cares, or comments. So we'll skip over reading back the report from last meeting in September. As you will tell or see, most of the agenda items are kind of staying repetitive at this point in time, but we just want to keep everybody updated on the things because we really are not going after another VATI grant at this point. So a lot of the meeting agenda will be pretty much the same going forward. There might be little tweaks here and there, but we just want to keep the community and everybody in Caroline County up to date on the status of these individual pieces, which bring together the VATI 2023 discussion. So with that, Mr. Sadler, did you want to kick off with the railroad crossing update?
Yeah, one thing prior to that, Jason, if I could, maybe we should add to new business upcoming meeting schedules because of a discussion I had with another member today.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Any objections? All right, hearing none, you've got something else in new business, Mr. Sadler.
We got a lot of miles to cover now in an hour. Railroad crossing updates. So we do have, the permits have been issued by CSX, as we've reported earlier. And the county's in the process of getting an engineering firm to receive or solicit and receive quotes to actually construct those. And that's where we're at. No quotes have been received. And so at this point, other than the fact that we are going out for quotes for the railroad crossings, once that engineering firm has been contracted to do that. So that's where we're at. I'll let you know if anything changes, of course, at the next meeting.
Okay. Any questions or comments on that?
Starlink updates. Jason, you got an exciting update to discuss.
Yes, I do. Actually, I went to go move my mouse, but then realized I've got to click on somewhere else. So I'm going to bring this one up because I'm going to make this pretty short, simple, and sweet on this one. Can somebody confirm that you are seeing a map of the world?
Yep.
With blue? Yep. Okay, perfect. Yep. So as you can see, this was an exciting month. This actually became available probably 2 weeks ago. The map turned from the kind of darker blue over to this light blue. For the past couple of months, we've seen kind of a blue haze over from about New York down to Florida. over to about Alabama, maybe Louisiana, something like that. And I apologize. That's one thing I should have done is over each meeting, and we can go back and look at the video because I usually show this, but I should have taken a screenshot so that way we could have seen kind of like a snapshot of the lines moving or the progress move across the United States. But with that being said, Starlink is now available for immediate order. As you can see, you can now click anywhere within inside of Caroline County and place your order for Starlink residential service system. What that means is and I've had multiple people do this since it's become live for everybody, place the order immediately, pay their $600 and change, and go ahead and get a confirmation back from Starlink that they are, ready to receive it. There's no more waiting lists, so people that were on the waiting list should be satisfied at this point. The one other thing that I've kind of learned watching YouTube channels, following a couple people that I stay up to date on, and also with some firsthand knowledge with some people that have done this process, they are able to switch their roaming or RV plan Starlink system over to a standard system. They can go into the app. Unfortunately, I won't show my app. I won't connect it and share that out because it does have some personal information. But you can go in there and update your Starlink plan to go from roaming over to standard. Once you do that, your bill rate will drop from $150 down to $120. So that'll save you $30 a year. And that'll allow you to now have it at your house. You no longer have to have the RV plan. Now, the one thing I will recommend, let me rephrase that. The one thing that I'm going to do once broadband is throughout all of Caroline County, I will be putting my Starlink plan back into a roaming plan and pausing my service, which basically temporarily stops data from flowing over the Starlink internet connection at that point in time. And that way I can, at any point in time, if let's say there is a fiber major outage in the Richmond area that affects Caroline County or surrounding areas, I can turn back on Starlink and route through New York if I needed to, which is where our central hub tends to be with Starlink. So that's what my plan is once broadband is throughout Caroline County. I'm not, anybody that has any questions, hit the broadband email box and David can ship those down to me and we can have discussions offline on that. But I just, that's kind of my plan on how my go forward, because I want to make sure that I always have a connection to the internet. But this was a great sight to see this month, that everything went to the light blue, to where we can now, anybody within Caroline County or anybody really in the entire U.S., except for this one weird spot in West Virginia that is still not available at this point in time. There's also, it appears to be one place up here in Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know if this is why this one is unavailable, but there are a few cells that are not available for immediate. But as far as Caroline County is concerned, we are 100% available for anybody that wants to turn on Starlink service. Again, this is a stopgap service. This is not an endorsement by the county or this committee. It is merely information from the committee. This is not a end-all be-all internet connection. It does have its up and downs. And that's the reason we went after the VATI grant, to get true fiber optic connectivity to residents of Caroline County. So I think I've said enough words at this point, David, or anybody on the committee. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I will say that I've gone out and installed a Starlink at a residence in the last month. Continue to test it. The testing is good. I would say it's probably equivalent to a very basic cable TV connection, not up to speed with a fiber connection. But again, for a temporary fix, it is a good solution. The customer that I was working with went from 2 meg over 0.750 on Verizon 4G LTE to around 80 over 10. So it was a really large increase. And so it still continues to work. And it is a good temporary solution. One thing that this committee has identified in the past is when it works well. If you have issues, you are going to want to use the app and continue to pose your issue question to support, and eventually they will get to you. There is no telephone number that you can call. Is that right, Jason? Correct. I guess. Yeah, the only way to get support on that is through the app on your phone, which means you're going to need internet or cell phone service to be able to put a help request in.
So I will make Jacobus mad at me right now, and I apologize in advance. I did run a speed test this morning and was getting 277.2 over 30. So
that's like we talked about. The older style dish must do something a little bit different.
Yeah, so I've got the version 2 dish, which is the beta testing dish, which are round. They're not rectangular, they are round. So I don't know whether that gives me more points of contact with the satellite. I don't know. I do have, based on the rectangular shape versus circular shape, I have more surface area pointed at the sky than the rectangular dishes. But I've talked to several people. One person that I actually talked to, I sent him that picture and he asked me why I hated him so much. Because he ran his speed test on Starlink and was only getting about 140 at that time. So I don't know whether the different styles of dish. There are some new dishes that are supposed to be coming out. Gen 3 Starlink routers coming out that bring out new features, and new dish to be smaller for more portability, to be able to take them to like a campground and set them open real quick. So they are making advancements there. But as far as the residential plan, we are good to go at this point. Any other questions? All right, hearing none. David, I'm going to pass it back to you. You've got the 2021 VATI update.
Yes, sir. As part of the agreement with VATI 2021, as well as the upcoming VATI 2023 grant, this committee agreed to help promote the ACP, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. So we plan to stock back up on flyers to the libraries, as well as Department of Social Services, to make sure they can get those out. As of right now, we still qualify for the credit through ACP because if you have a child in Caroline County Public Schools. That has not changed as of now, but just know that that program does have to be renewed annually. So it could change at some time in the future if the schools no longer are able to offer the free meals to the students. So just keep an eye on that, and we'll talk a little bit more about ACP later on in the meeting. If you want, I'll go ahead and jump to VATI 2023.
That's fine with me.
So in VATI 2023, we've been closely in contact. We're already meeting weekly and monthly with both Verizon and BreezeLine as they prepare to ramp up construction on 2023. Both companies now have a rough timeline that has been filed with the state and both project construction to start sometime around March on those projects. Now, those timelines are still subject to change because at this point, we are, when we receive the state contracts from DHCD between DHCD and Caroline County, there are a few issues that refer back to the agreements with the partners. So now we're having to go back to those partners just to clear up a few areas that were basically new and added to this round of contracts. So I've been in constant contact with the county attorney, and we're hoping that by the end of the week we'll have at least one of the two, and hopefully within the next week or so have the second one. That being said, the delay in getting that contract signed has not delayed either of those two companies because, again, they've been approved for prior authorization. So the work, the planning, the walkout, the engineering, the locating, all of the, so part of that walkout is they will go through the area and actually, send their teams in, walk through the areas, make sure that the addresses that we had previously identified are still good. They will find some new construction that started after those dates. And so what ends up generally happening is the number of residents to be served stays fairly close. Some of the addresses turn out to be either unoccupied, and then you have some new construction that offsets those. So what we've seen in 21 and talking with both partners that have also been in multiple other projects, it ends up generally working out fairly close to the number that we were originally approved from the state, if not just slightly above. So the prior authorization agreement allows them to do that walkout, the design, the final design, and the engineering ahead of the actual contract being signed with Caroline County. So that's the phase we're in now. So the design and engineering is taking place. It's not holding up construction. Both companies are very excited and raring to go and want those contracts to be signed so they can actually start ordering materials, because some of the materials they've been allowed to order. Some materials they haven't ordered as of yet, but either way, as of right now, I'm being assured by both partners that the contract taking another week or 2 weeks to complete, 3 weeks longer than what we had expected, is not causing a delay in construction. Both companies, at last report, were planning to start actual construction in March, and we hope to have the contract signed and a notice to proceed from DHCD within the next 2 weeks. So we're still well ahead of March. So that's where we stand in 23, Jason.
Okay. Any questions on 21 or 23?
I will say too that we've still got a lot of interest. I'm still answering a lot of broadband inquiries constantly. Love to see it. Keep it up. If you have a question about where you fall in the project, and please feel free to reach out using that broadband inquiry form. It's a great way. It comes directly to me. And the first thing I do is verify that your address against the database, just to make sure that you're in there. And then we can give you an idea of who your provider is going to be. The one question that's common amongst all of the inquiries is, when are they going to start working, or when is the construction, and when will it be available to me? And we cannot answer that at this point. It's way too early. Final design is not even back from both companies. Once that's back, then the companies look at it, decide where they can get the feeds from, and in which order they actually start construction. So too early to tell you when you will have internet, other than the fact that construction will begin, looks like maybe March of next year. It will have to be completed on the Verizon side west of 95 in 18 months, the Breeze Line side in 3 years.
It's good news. We're seeing there's not construction yet, but there's things leading up to construction that have to be done in order to make sure that the companies that are providing it actually provide it correctly, and they're taking that time to make sure that they do that. So that's really good to see that. All right, anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, if not, David, did you want to touch on the Frog Level Parade?
So part of what we've agreed to do is try to help promote ACP and the program to keep public interest up. When Jason Barlow and myself discussed this, we were already too short to try to get the Bowling Green. However, we do have an opportunity to go to the Frog Level Festival, which is right in the center of a large part of the Eastern project. So what are you guys' feelings? Are any of you available to help us at a table? We would just answer questions and talk with the public about the upcoming project. And Jason, can you give the date and times of that actual festival?
1 second. It's going to be
28th starting at 9 a.m.
Yep, 28th starting at 9 a.m. Parade starts at 11 o'clock. So I would imagine we would do anywhere from 9 to 11 would be, the primary time.
So, as far as I can tell right now, Jason, I'm available that day. Needless to say, the Harvest Festival, Bowling Green Harvest Festival, is 5 days out. And with everything that we had going, we just missed the opportunity to get into that. I will say, however, we do need to plan a strong presence at all the festivals starting next year to help promote this thing. So maybe even try to get someone over to the county fair.
I agree. So I will be available to help as much as I can. I know I'll be working at the fire department with stew sales and stuff going on there. So if I'm not needed for something at that time, I can definitely come over to the table and help out.
Well, last time we were at the Fall Festival, we showed up, we had black t-shirts with Got Broadband with a question mark playing on the Got Milk. Now we can go Got Broadband with an exclamation mark instead of a question mark. So it's coming, and we just need to, I will be there, Jason, to help just discuss and answer any questions that people might have, give out some information about ACP, and if anybody in the public has any questions about ACP, please stop by the table. We'll be at the 2023 Frog Level Festival.
Do you need me to bring a table, or do you already have the space reserved?
I don't, but I could reach out to Crystal. We'll get that set up. I have a table and some chairs that I can get down there.
All right.
All right.
I'll forward you the form that she had sent me.
That'd be great. It's a great event down there. We like to support them as well. A lot of people showed a lot of interest at the last one that we were there.
Yeah, there were definitely a ton of people asking questions and everything else. And at least now we can say, yes, we've won the VATI grant, and it's just now it's time to build everything out. All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments on that? All right. I guess now we'll move into new business. David, do you want to, or Jason Jacobus, do you have anything that you need to share?
Yes.
All right. So I will stop sharing at this point. And David will have to grant you the permission to share.
No, I got it.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. So I was going to give this update last month, but had conflicting appointments. But the big takeaway was that I had to do a renewal of my affordable connectivity program benefit. It's a yearly thing, so I guess it runs 12 months out from when you first signed up. So if we had done our job, a year ago and we got people sign up, some should be coming to that term, this month. So the big takeaway was that it was just a 10-minute robocall reaffirming that all of the previous, well, a very good use of your benefit would be that supplemental nutrition program through the Caroline County Public Schools. So that's the method that I use to get the benefit. So that's how, and that is still in place for this school year. So that is why I was able to just get on the phone and go through the robocall, confirming. Took a little bit longer than I thought it should have, but I guess since it's somehow, legally binding, that's what they wanted. They also followed up with an email and a mailed letter in the mail. So I have that here as well. And they wanted me to recertify by October 9th. As you can see on the date here, I received it in August, so that gave me a little while, and it wasn't too bad. So then I got the email just a few days later that I had been certified. So I did a little bit of searching on what's going on, and the current news is this, right? So the renewal of the ACP has been a subject of considerable ambiguity in the recent months. There have been widespread predictions that the program, which offers 30, 75 monthly internet discounts to low-income households, is likely to drop in 2024. While experts have voiced concern that the end of ACP will spell disaster for ongoing broadband expansion efforts, that is speculative and not our committee's opinion. Congress has yet to take any action to replenish the program. So what lies ahead for the 19 million beneficiaries across the nation? So I thought that was interesting to know that 19 million people across the country have taken advantage of the program, and that it may be in jeopardy. So I'm not too sure where that goes, but I'd say just take advantage of it while we have it, right? So, and there's plenty of news out there about this. So you can, and there's lots of different opinions on this. Is this program the right way to spend? Sometimes they allocate the funding in different programs. But things that, BEAD, which is that the one that helped us secure the universal coverage?
BEAD is part of the program that covered the second round of applications that's coming through now.
Right.
But we actually fell under the award from the Commonwealth of Virginia. So BEAD is being rolled out. I believe the deadline for those applications is the end of the year, and there'll be an award probably early next year. So it's almost like a VATI 2024 kind of turned into BEAD.
Yes. So, that's the thing, whether or not these programs continue, because did we do enough in the last couple go rounds? Then they want to, stop these fundings and see what happens. I don't know, but just I think that's worthwhile of us noting that these things may come to an end. So we'll keep you updated on that. So yes, take advantage of it. Yes, be ready to recertify every 12 months. And that's it. Thank you.
Jason, as far as we know, is that program still accepting applications for?
Oh yeah. Yep. So yeah, they've hit 19 to 20 million folks across the country, but I guess it's just getting the word out there that it's available. Now I don't know if that funding is a finite number and it's going to dry up eventually. They were speculating that it would be the funding would be gone sometime in calendar year 2024. So I don't know if if 10 more million folks signing up makes that end earlier in 2024. I don't know if that's how it works, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll talk with the providers and as well as some of the industry associations and see if we can find out. I know that the providers are all planning on that program continuing. Of course, with federal funding, it's touching.
It's been a little touchy recently, right? Yeah.
So if we hear anything different, we'll be sure to get that news out as well.
David, did we have this on the county website previously?
We did have some information as far as ACP early on. We probably need to refresh that.
Right.
But again,
Right.
one of the things that's on my list is to go through and completely update the broadband webpage. But we haven't gotten back to that yet. So if we do, we'll make sure that, or when we do, we'll make sure that this is got a prominent place on that site as well. But it's a really good benefit. Anybody that doesn't know, you get the credit. If your child goes to Caroline County Public Schools, you automatically qualify. The credit is $30 credit, Jason?
Yeah.
30, yes.
Yeah, so it's $30 credit that goes directly to the provider. Both projects, 20 East and West in Batty 2023, have service levels that are right at the $30 level. So if you have, once the fiber's in place, of course, you can't get ACP if you don't have internet available. It does qualify for hotspots. Some cell phone providers are participating. So if you're paying for internet now, you may want to talk to those providers and see if you qualify or if they participate. If they participate and you have a child in Caroline County Public Schools, then you will qualify. And then if you need assistance, that broadband inquiry form, if you want to fill that out, we'll actually get in touch with you and help you through the process if you need. We've had several people do it, and Jason Jacobus was nice enough early on to basically go through the entire application process as a test and record each step. So it's a fairly simple process, and you can either get low cost or no cost internet. And then as VATI 2023 starts to spread out, even more people would be eligible for that, assuming that the project or the funding for that project doesn't stop. So it's a really good benefit. You have a child in Caroline County Public Schools, take advantage of it. And again, we're available. If you have questions and you need assistance getting through that, just do the broadband inquiry form. We will reach out to you personally and make sure that you're able to get through that process and get the assistance that you need.
Now, David, there's one more. We got a flyer or presentation from Comcast quite a while back that said they offered something similar. So I don't know if the two can be used in conjunction or it's one or the other, but there is another option for Comcast users, which is the western side of the county. Same basic criteria. It was for those who, required some financial assistance.
Yeah, it's the same. It's through their Affordable Connectivity Program. But Comcast does offer a couple of other services where they can actually basically finance a computer if you don't have a computer and different things. Now, the good thing about it is if they participate in ACP, then there's no charge for the modems, or the modems are included in that low-cost service that they offer. So there's a lot of different benefits that are tied into that. Comcast is a very robust program. And I can tell you that there are a lot of areas right now living on the west side that have Comcast cable that goes right by houses. And so, the challenge is to try to get the word out to those people. Hey, if you don't have internet connection right now, here's an opportunity. Low cost or no cost. Contact Comcast. They'll get you started. If you have issues getting through it, just contact us and we'll help you finish the paperwork.
You said modem, that made me think of 20, 30 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, they still call them cable modems. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know about the fiber. I guess they're still called modems as well, but definitely not the buzz ring that we used to hear.
Exactly. All right, thank you.
Not the killing of robots sound.
I also saw one more stipulation that said if you have the service, you must use the service as well. So I wonder if some people are getting it, having the wires connected, plugged up, service activated, and then they're just not using it or turning it off. So I guess there's some type of stipulation around that as well.
Yeah, and with limited funding, I'm sure they don't want to see people getting qualified for that assistance and then never hooking up, because that kind of leaves the system in limbo. And but if you get it, take advantage of it. Get hooked up, get internet, even if you never had high-speed internet at your home. It's an extremely valuable tool. I look back to the days when I finally realized it was quicker to jump on Google and look up a phone number than it was to pull out a Yellow Pages and look the phone number up in a phone book. So that's just one example of what's out there if it's available to you.
All right. Any more questions on ACP update? If not, David, I'll turn it over to you about the upcoming meeting schedule.
And speaking with Frank earlier today, it came up. Frank, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nothing except based on our conversation with the stake that we're at now, I was going to propose maybe a motion that we have our meetings maybe quarterly now as opposed to monthly. I feel like we're in our time schedule and timeline where we are now, that might be an appropriate move. So with that being said, I was going to make a motion this evening that we move to quarterly meetings unless it's deemed that a special meeting needs to be called, which we could give the power of that to the president and to David as well, since they're a little bit more in touch with what might progressively be going on. But anyway, I'd like to go ahead and make that as a motion, if I may.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion just to get the discussion started so we can have that discussion, because it's, I second the motion, Jason.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. We have it properly seconded. Any conversation or discussion around the motion on the floor to move the broadband committee meetings to quarterly unless there is a called meeting based on important information that needs to be discussed?
My thoughts are, Jason, we are getting in a period of time now where the paperwork's done, construction hasn't started, will start. There will come a time probably in the next 6 to 9 months where we may need to start back meeting monthly. If we start getting those addresses changed, we'll try to figure out the best way to get those out and the word out to the public. Once construction starts, it's going to be moving so fast that even then we're going to need to probably find other alternatives to get the word out to the areas that they're building in. I hate to see us get in a situation where we're going through the same agenda month after month and with very little or no changes. And so, we get to where we may lose some people that are interested, more so if we put the meetings to 3 months, where we would more than likely have more substance to report on each meeting. But that's just my thoughts.
I think it's a good motion. The statements that I made earlier about the agenda being the same thing over and over again, it's something I've noticed over the past couple months. And that was not, I had no knowledge of this before, but I really think this is a good idea. So yeah, I'm all in favor at this point, but any more discussion on this?
I think it's probably a good idea at this point.
January.
In time. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Would we start January? So we would, and then start each quarter from there.
I mean, that's open for discussion if that's what we wanted to do. Mr. Thomas, I think you had something you wanted to add.
I was pretty much going to say the same thing. The real key factor here is we won't have any new ideas about where we are, what the process is going to be until March, when they get ready to get started. And as Jason just said, if we start in January, our next meeting would be in April, we would have a full slate of things to talk about, I'm sure. Especially once we start talking schedule, which will come from the providers and not us.
So Jason Barlow, would that mean, because the next two meetings, like you see on the agenda already, the 20th is going to hit the week of Thanksgiving. A lot of people are out of town that week, and we'll probably be getting close. When is the December meeting set to hit?
December meeting would hit in 1 second. So it would hit the 18th of December, the week, exactly 1 week before Christmas.
So, I mean, I would almost propose that we just set the next meeting for January. The other thing that I'm hoping too is that if we go to quarterly meetings, we might even be able to go back in person at the community center. And if we go quarterly, we may have enough interest where we can actually, get some people in there. Not every meeting in the quarterly would be in person, but we could definitely try to get some in-person meetings in there as well, I would think. I mean, what are y'all's thoughts?
The only thing I'm going to caution on, and this has no just something to think about, the meeting in January, the third Monday will be the 15th, which is Martin Luther King Day. So maybe we look at pushing that out till the 22nd of January.
Yeah.
If if that works for everybody. And that's one thing that I tried to call out in the agenda, was the next meeting was going to fall the week of Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people are traveling, family plans, and I was actually going to bring it up anyways when we talked about that. The next 2 months are really busy with a lot of things going on. How did we want to handle that? So,
all right. Well, I second that we
perfect
quarterly meeting starting January 22nd, 2024.
Well, so we already had a motion. We had to properly second it. If you want to withdraw your second, David, and Frank, if you want to update yours with a start date, which would be January 22nd, we can go back that way.
That's perfectly fine.
I would second that motion as amended.
Okay. So the new motion as amended is our next broadband committee will be January 22nd. This is weird to say, 2024. And we will move to quarterly meetings until we have more substance. So that way we can have more information come out in these meetings versus just the same thing kind of over and over. And then as we get more into the dates and times, we potentially will go back to monthly meetings or come up with a different cadence. Does that pretty much sum up your motion, Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Any other discussion at this point, or should I just go ahead and call for a vote?
Question?
Call the question.
All right. Question?
Let's just call it for the vote.
Oh, okay,
Call for the vote. All right.
that'll work. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. All right. Well,
Now, Jason, can we add one thing for the public to know? Just because we're not going to see any new information from us until March or so, David and I discussed the other day, the providers are out there at this time doing their due diligence and talking about routes and things of that nature. So there is a lot of work going on, even though we're not going to be meeting and there's no big announcement to make.
correct.
In fact, Mr. Thomas, one reason that I was in favor of the meetings going to quarterly is because we're going to be so busy between between now and March. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done. So, but yet it's not substantive changes that are going to affect the program. Nothing's stopping. This isn't going to slow the process down. The partners have, we'll be handing the torch over to them, and they'll be ready to take off. So the work is rolling right along. There's been no delays, no calls for delays, no problems identified, and in the process, Mr. Thomas, if we can get that broadband page up to date, that'll be another place for us to be able to put out up to date information as well. So we'll work on that as well.
Great.
And we members of this committee are, as always, available to you and the rest of the board. If you have questions, just feel free to reach out. We'll have a representative at a meeting to give you a report of what's going on as well.
Why don't we put this just on the save the date time? Our December board meeting might be good to do a year-end summary from the broadband committee, where we are, what we've done, and what's going to happen in 24.
All right, we can do that.
All right, I've got that noted down. All right, so we've set the time for the next one. We kind of covered that with inside of the upcoming meeting schedule. So do I want everybody good for adjournment? Do I hear a motion for that?
So moved.
All right. At this point, we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. And if anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to the broadband using the email address or the form online, and watch for the updates on the broadband page on the county website. And we will see everybody back January 22nd, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.